There we go. Okay. First time catching you live. What's up? Hey, Derek. Welcome. Great to have you. I'm glad you were able to drop in. There we go. All right, chat. Let's get it on. We've got so much stuff to check out today. I've already done a little bit of the work, but I'm gonna turn down my personal volume because it's a little loud, the background music for me. Let's see. Hey, Chaotic. Hey, Nobre. Hey, Platypus. Yes, we're going back to Stormvale, by the way. I'll join in a few. No problem, Adolphus. Take your time. Hello. Howdy, Xavier. Let's see. I just gotta double check there's no burial stuff here. Let's see, everybody. Yeah. I was gonna stream last night, but it was so late, and I was like, I think everyone in my community's asleep at this hour. But next time I won't pussy out. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything here that could be burial related, so it's just here, and the back, quote unquote, of the building is here, if I recall. So, yeah, we got that. I forgot. And did you talk to the finger reader at Roundtable Pizza? Yes, we did, Platty. That was last episode on the playlist. Today is an investigation episode. This will not be included in the formal. I forget why I put that there. I think it's because that's where D is. I don't remember. Oh yeah, before I forget. You know, I don't think anyone watching the playlist is gonna mind if I do this. So let's get this out of my way. There's a certain merchant who hasn't died yet. Hey, Night Scout, good to see you. I have not caught up with the VOD, so will not be staying, but I'd like to inform you that you put this under Loki latest instead of announcements. Ah, fuck! I gotta correct this. I have to correct this. Ah! I am going crazy! There. No, actually, I don't even think that did it right. My bad. We're gonna do this. Okay, so... Yeah, that didn't work right, so... Okay, now it's... Thank you, I'm going crazy. Alrighty, so let's see. I have burials, so we have the burial coffins here, and then the other burial stuff here. There's the graveyard back there. More burial coffins. We have one graveyard system there. All right, first, what's with the person? Oh, you know what? I bet this is the farming spot for the sun shield I set up at one point, but I could have swore that was on my confessor. Whatever. That delay is oof. Yeah, sorry, I try to keep the delay here. I've honestly been thinking about getting rid of it. Oh, right, this is the guy for D. Okay, yeah. Just gonna have this noted because we have an actual prisoner corpse here. Again, I'm not sure how significant it will be, but just in case them using prisoner corpses versus, say, the generic corpses means anything. Yeah, okay, so that's why that guy's there. Good to know. I'll keep that in mind. Excuse me. Oh. I'm not backstabbing you with that. Sorry, sir. Alright. I don't think anyone watching the VODs on the playlist are gonna mind. Wow, okay, now I know how far off the delay is. Yeah, it's about 30 seconds or so, I think. That sounds about right. Like I said, I've been thinking of getting rid of it, but it just the problem with me when I first set up the delay thing was in case of, like, I don't know, like some weird shits or something like that causing some problems. That's like, okay, I'd want to avoid like hackers or anything like that, but I play offline anyway with these games, so it's like, does it really matter? I'm thinking of getting rid of it because I do hate that I'm not able to respond to you guys sooner if I can spy your message. We got that. We have the graves here, and then, like, they go all... So, where's the... Okay, I think the first grave is here. So this is the inside of the catacombs. Then there's the graves here and here, going along this area. We got the 2 graves here, so like one little grave thing here, and then like 3 of them here. Okay. Nothing here as far as I could see, unless you want to count the execution ground here with all the poison, but no, it's fine. We got the graves down here with the Fulgur blooms. What else are we missing? Okay, we got these things here, which, I'll be honest, this is what I find the most interesting, is this little isolated area. We don't really have a lot of signs of lots of battles happening here. We also have some graves here, which is interesting, and then we have, of course, the church here. I should also probably, since I now have this, I removed all the stuff for the ancient civilization highways, by the way. Like, you can see now Caelid's all cleared up. Figured, you know what, might as well. I already have a general idea where all these are. And I do find it interesting that Liurnia is one of these places that seem to be exempt of that. So we'll have to see how that might play out in analysis. Oh, look at Derek again. Been binging your lore plays. Great stuff. Changed my whole idea about the story. I'm super glad to hear that, by the way. Really cool. I mean, I'm so happy to be, like, it's just so great when people are, like, watching my content and it's actually helpful. What are the chances that these ruins just keep dropping in the middle of the roads? I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Like, I thought it was, like, very rare or one-off, but I'm noticing it more and more, and I'm like, huh. Wow, they really just happen to always manage to land in the middle of the highway, huh? Stuff there. I don't think there's any down here, right? Or around here. Yeah, I think it's just, like, here-ish. Let's put more here, just in case. And then... Oh, yeah, this is for these here. So let's see. Where D is, does that corpse of a civilian still exist in the overworld? Yes, I guess I answered your question, huh? I'm curious if it was a wanderer or if Summonwater Village or whatever was still occupied until very recently. I'm curious about that too. Like, how recent are these ruins of the village? Right? Because it has its own private graveyard here, but there's also all this here. But this could be a continuation of this. Yeah, let's get back here. Because, okay, so to give where my thoughts are currently, chat, it seems that how we go is, again, this is the last third, this is like the last third of, like, Godfrey's reign. Like, basically, the rest of Godfrey's entire rule is going to be sticking to campaigning in the south, right? Yeah, he doesn't come back to Lingdell. He goes down here. He assaults Stormvale. As part of this assault on Stormvale, he ends up having this entire graveyard and new church being built here. Now, the fact that there's a new church here also tells us how different the era is, because this seems to have been the original, right? So, oh, never mind these trees. This is Godwyn's Deathroot, right? I'm going to probably include this to add to the idea that all of this collapsed because of Godwyn. But anyway, the point is, we got these graveyards here, right? So this is when Stormvale was first being constructed. Then we have the second graveyard built here, which seems to be for the assault on Stormvale from behind. Now, I'm not sure if this means that Godfrey and his men took a western approach yet. I have to investigate Liurnia proper. We might do that this little stream. But it is interesting to note how we have a giant graveyard happening here. Well, it's not that big, I should acknowledge, but big enough. You obviously have the pagan graveyard in here. So that's going to give us an idea of, okay, so this is where, like, a bunch of the Banished Knights who are being sieged, when they die, they're being buried inside the walls, naturally. Again, you can tell that they're pagan because it has the Cathedral of the Deep graves, but they're flat-topped. They don't have the flower, because the flower is only used at, like, Churches of America and stuff like that related to the gods. So you always, that's how you can confirm for sure which graveyard is used by what civilization. Anyway. Okay, so we have this here, that back there, and then obviously this gets captured. This citadel area gets built by Godfrey. So Godfrey has his little throne room now. Also, next Let's Play, we're gonna have to go inside there and deal with good old Nefeli. Realize she's there. Secluded cell. I don't think there's any burial grounds here. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the broken church area that, again, was probably connected to this larger graveyard section. And there's the graveyard up here. Now, this graveyard's the most vague. I don't know if this is part of Godfrey's southern campaigns, and these are the people of Stormvale who died there. I feel like they would probably be buried in the hero grave, though, instead. or if this is supposed to be, like Godric era burials. Because the thing is, it has a forest growing through it, which is already kind of suspicious. Like, would you do that? And there's a lot of the jellyfish, which tells us a lot of women are being buried here. So it's like, is this really all for the soldiers, or maybe is this a civilian graveyard? But the problem is that these skeletons with, like, swordsmen and stuff are buried here, too. So, like, this is where it gets a little confusing for me. I don't think that's for this grave. Yeah, this is for this catacombs. I don't know why this Stormfoot catacombs is built exactly. It's a little off the beaten path. But what it seems to be is that after Godfrey captured Stormvale, he goes down the winding road here, and this is what's going to become the highway. So he captures all of this, and then he starts pushing forward. And notice that as we start pushing along the highway, this is where we start seeing lots of graves. So we have a few here, here, here. Obviously, there's that one isolated grave out here, which again might be related. Could be something else entirely, though. This is for the hero graves, by the way, so ignore that. It has nothing to do with the ruins. Another graves here. So again, notice how many graveyards and graves. So again, you have the coffins here and more graves here. All of this stuff along the highway, which kind of tells us that Godfrey and his army seem to have marched south, which is more or less consistent with my analysis. And then again, we have all the graves here. You can imagine this was a big battle. And you can imagine too, right? It's the perfect choke point, right? So if you're going to travel through here, then we get to this bridge, which as far as I can tell, looks to be a Norman/Romanesque style bridge. Is the guy of the guilty set? Yeah, it looks like he's wearing the criminal set. If so, D didn't seem to comment on them being a prisoner, just a person killed on the roadside by undead. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm not sure if it's important or not, but I want to keep it recorded in the future for those little corpses. Because I found at least a few instances where it's like, okay, yeah, this character is someone you could consider a criminal or, you know, a sinner or something. Someone, not worthy of this. Now, I'm going to want some expertise opinion from, the lore hunter, probably, on this. But I am fairly certain this is still Romanesque style, right? So this definitely seems like this was Banished Knight built. Also, I think it was Night Scout who a few Let's Play streams ago, God, this must have been a month ago or something, who mentioned a bat banner with like a bird on it, and I know we have the same bird here. So yeah, it looks like the army Godric organized during the Second Defensive Lane Dell came from Limgrave. That would seem to be the implication, which tells us that Godric already had, at the very least, he already had Stormvale set up to be his base of operations before actually retreating to there. Very interesting. Would Godfrey have possibly been involved in those campaigns? Are we talking about the southern campaigns? Yes. If we're talking about, like, again, this is the last part of Godfrey's rule, and we need him to be in Morn Castle for the Morn Siege by the hero. So, again, like I said, it seems to be that there was a huge push by Godfrey and his soldiers down south. And again, obviously, there may have been first a push east along the hill to secure the wider hill, because we see, again, some burials. There's graves here. There's this catacomb here, the Death Touch catacombs. This is the Murkwater catacombs, I believe. Yeah, there's a graveyard stuff here. And then there's, of course, a bunch of graveyard stuff along the cliff edges here. And then one lower down here. So all of this leads me to believe that this was about securing the hill before, and that's why we have the Colosseum built here. So it's like, okay, Godfrey and his men have secured the entire hill, and you can only get back up through Gatefront, which he's presumably secured, as we can see with this little gateway here. And then from there, it becomes, okay, we have to push to the south down here. Now, again, this is where Stormfoot Catacombs has me curious, because is that part about these battles on the hill, or is this part of the battles going down south, and it's just a little farther away than the others? I could go either way. Again, the problem here is that we're talking about, when we're talking about the lore here, is it's difficult to say when they're putting a bunch of graves that you can hop down as, like, platforms down a cliff's edge, whether they intended to be, oh, these were graves for people dying up here, or down here. Now, I'm gonna be generous and say, like, this is all here generally just for the hill stuff, because it all seems to be concentrated around this area, which would be obviously a huge contested zone after the actual castle's been conquered. Because you can only imagine there were many people who wouldn't abide by Godfrey and either had already escaped or already set up positions or what have you across the hill and would need to be rooted out if they were going to have supply lines bringing anything for a southern march downward. Anyway, so they secure the hill, and then they can start getting their conquest going, trying to conquer all this stuff. I don't know if, like, again, stuff like this was still around at this point, for there to be battles around here. Again, we'll have to see. I think it was Xavier who mentioned the bird on the siege engine. Okay, so if so, then goes to Xavier then for the credit. Either way, I saw the screenshot earlier. I was like, wait a second, I just saw that when I was getting all these little things set up. Yeah, I mentioned the ballista to be exact. Good to know. I completely forgot about the ballista detail. I don't have any burning questions for Elden Ring at the moment. All have been answered so far. I guess that's good to hear, John. Oh, I mean Godwyn. Too many gods. That I don't know, actually, Platy. Because the thing with Godwyn is the only battle he's been able to distinguish himself in is here with the... It's around here, right? With the Ancient Dragon War. And I've said it before, my impression so far, again, I'm working to getting a detailed analysis done on that, but my impression so far is this is because after Grandsack's attack, Godfrey organizes an assault on Far Missoula proper, and that's why we see items in Crucible Knights and things that are happening there, still fighting some of the beasts and all that. So all that's about the, that's where Godfrey is at that moment, and then in the meantime, Godwyn is to hold down the fort back at the capital, right? It's like, I'm coming to the position right now that Godwyn might be Godfrey's firstborn and his crown prince, as it were. At least the crown prince. I don't know if he's necessarily the firstborn or if Melina comes first or whatever, right? Like, any of that. But it definitely seems to be that Godwyn probably holds that kind of position. So he's the one who's trusted to hold down the fort while Godfrey's gone. And in the course of all that, obviously there's the Fort of Saxe attack and everything, right? But then after that, Godfrey's able to head down. So does Godwyn join Daddy on this campaign? Or does he stay home with Mom to keep holding down the fort? I could see it going either way. Anyway. The point is they go down, they go down, they go south. Again, we have battles happening here, which as we can see has all those graves there. Then obviously in the valley here, there's another big battle. It seems like there was at least a western approach here because there's the graveyard here. And I think we get an Ash of War related to the Dragon Cult here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have to double check that. There's also some burial stuff here, but I think that's for this catacomb. And I can't remember. Yeah, this catacomb could be related to the Minor Erdtree, though, because they want to have Minor Erdtree burials and stuff. And there's at least signs there may have been a working bridge to the village at this point with the baptismal church and all that. Then there's obviously the small graveyard here. The graveyards here, which may have been for this old ruin, which seems to predate all of this, so I'm not going to focus too hard on all that. But anyway, after breaking this wall, it seems that Godfrey and his forces didn't really have any other big resistance in this section. Because, again, we don't see many graves or anything for that. Instead, the focus on Castle Morn, which, of course, has its graveyard back here. Yeah, and then, obviously, after Godfrey and company capture this from the Banished Knights, we have the hero who quite cleverly decides he's going to strike when Godfrey is literally the farthest away from the capital he could possibly be. So it's like, hey, if you're ever going to strike and get your revenge on the dude, do it right now when him and his army are exhausted trying to capture this thing, and now you're the one besieging it. Very clever, I would say. As we know, though, that didn't end up working out. And then finally, obviously, so Godfrey and company can return home now. And now, again, this goes back to the question of the Saints' Bridge. Did they split up their forces and mount 2 attacks? And that's why we see some graves here at Summon Water. But we also know there has to be a battle going on. Obviously, we have the Mistwood Ruins here for stuff of that nature. But there's the idea that there has to be some sort of battle going on at Fort Height. Obviously, you have more of the graves here. Again, the coffins and then the grave platform stuff. So Fort Height gets captured for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Summon Water Village gets captured as well. But I think Fort Height is the main base. Because, again, Third Church of America was built here. Which suggests that the idea was that the main route that Godfrey and company were taking were along this side route to go back to Fort Height, and then Marika, like, intercepts them. Anyway, so they march up, and then, of course, this is Godfrey's last area of battles, so Caelid's his last fighting ground, and then we go from up here, and then this is where we're going to have to look at graves and stuff and see how that might play out. Cave, this. Let's go through here and check out the Summon Water Village. Let's see. Yeah, Dragon War Monument was in that area. Good to know, good to know. No, Night Scout was the one that you blue-balled every stream until last stream. Accidentally blue-balled on the talking to the finger reader. I'm sorry, Night Scout. I'm sorry I didn't get to finger you. Did you get around to watching Sinclair's video yet? No, I have not, unfortunately, Xavier. Gotta have to get around to doing some of that. Let's see. And I should get later says that Farum Azula was built as a mausoleum for an ancient dragon, and other items relate to the dragon reign as prehistoric, so Godfrey might be long after Placidusax. Oh no, I agree that he, as far as Placidusax himself, it's possible that Placidusax is already gone. I don't know if he was dead though, because it is talked about it. Farum Azula is also described as the royal capital, so this leads me to believe that the king and his and stuff is still around. But I have to double check the Japanese text to make sure, because it could be an ancient dragon graveyard in that, but all ancient dragons are buried on this land where Farum Azula was built. Not necessarily that Placidusax is the dragon being buried there. But again, I have to double check the text because I haven't looked at the Farum Azula stuff. But there's evidence. We have an ancient dragon war incantation that was said that this was being used during the Grand Sax attack and then the ensuing war. And we have the 2 Crucible Knights, I think, that are stationed here. I thought it was just 1, but then I recall, oh yeah, wait, there is actually another one when I was counting all 16. But yeah, so they do in fact exist still here. There's also, I think, supposed to be like a dragon worshipping one, but that could be like with Garank and stuff, because I think he's like stationed outside of here or something. Again, I have to explore this area for myself to get a fuller idea of all this, but again, that's just like my vague understandings when it comes to Farum Azula. This is obviously Burial Ground, but we don't care about it because it's all beast related. Yeah, let's get started on the actual investigation here. What's the Grace name for that tunnel again? I'll look it up. Which tunnel? Gale Tunnel, or? Yeah, Sophie seems to come to the conclusion that Godwyn is firstborn and Melena's the secondborn. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Godwyn, like, whether Godwyn's firstborn or secondborn or whichever, again, I still think it's clear that he's the Crown Prince character, right? Like, he's the eldest son, if nothing else. That's my position. Because the emphasis on him as the golden and everything just sort of gives this idea he's the golden boy, right? The literal golden boy. Everything about Godwyn, like, he's the exemplar of the demigod children, right? Firstborn, perfectly embodies everything Mommy and Daddy Godfrey wanted him to. Perfectly champions the gold in color and all that. Absolute loyal to the Erdtree Order and everything like that. Like, he's just he's the model child of the model prince of the kingdom. That's everything that I would say his character seems to converge around. And then obviously, then Ronnie kills him. Okay, so this is interesting, guys. So we don't have any highway, at least any surviving highway, for a while on this strip from Stormvale. So I don't think it's here either. I think this is all dirt road until we get to the Gatefront Ruins. But either way, we have nothing here. Then we have the bridge. Then again, nothing. Nothing until here. And what makes this interesting to me is that it starts out like the typical Erdtree burial grounds, right? So it's got the Elden Ring imagery. See if I can get a good look. Yeah, see? You can see this clear Elden Ring imagery with a cross. Oh, I should actually specify that. It's Elden Ring cross imagery. I gotta add that to my my doc. Let's see. Yeah. So we have that with a bunch of different rings overlapping. It's in a cross shape for the Erdtree, right? So, again, I gotta update my, my paragraphs. Then we go up here, up until this spot. Again, this is the point where we're told, okay, this is the last land. Hello? Excuse me? Hello? God, you are so finicky. There, I mean, directly in front of you. Okay, at last, at the end of his campaign, his gold. Yeah, Japanese says like the land of his last campaign or his last battle. So it's like, okay, this is where all Caelid's the last land that Godfrey's gonna be fighting in, right? So again, we have all this. It's completely normal Erdtree stuff until here. Then at this juncture, it's suddenly just plain regular stone. Which I'm like, well, that's curious, right? That's a little odd. What's even odder is you come all the way up here. And eventually it tapers off. Right now it's back to normal dirt road. Seems to be, if there was any of this stone here, it hasn't survived the test of time or whatever. Although it is interesting to note how this village area has a more stony square organization to it. Again, I find that very curious. I'm actually thinking with all this, how this is all set up, this might have been a, what's the word? This might have been a kind of transit station where, like, you know, they would have goods like wind down on ropes and pulleys and all that down to this lower section and then shipped. Anyway. Who wants to fight me? Whatever. Anyway, the stone quickly picks back up again, though, as we get out of the village. Then as we continue down, we can see it's still the plain, regular stone. It stays that way all the way through. Now, I found this in itself to be very curious. What's even odder is that when you get to the fences... Oh, gosh. Man, one-shotting those feels good. Anyway, when you get to the fences... Can I... Yeah, I think this will be good. Okay, so these actually look normal, I think. Yeah, these look normal. So it's further down the line. Or maybe I'm just looking at the wrong one. Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's why. See, these have the Erdtree cross sigil too. Yeah. So it's like, okay, this might just be a case of reused assets. This could just be they have the one fencing model for this stone broken fencing, and they just didn't bother looking closely at the stones and making it match with these stones. Again, I have no qualms with that. It's like, okay, sure, that's fine. So I'm willing to kind of ignore the fact that the edges are technically Erdtree Highway, but the middle is, like, not. But anyway, we continue down here, regardless. Again, we now continue and go here with the gravelstone and stuff. We have all the dead and all that. Yeah, no highway here in the middle of this village, but we go all the way down the road, through Main Street. And once we leave Main Street, back out onto the highway, we can see how, once again, it is still... regular plain rock. No. But then we reach this wall, and suddenly it's Erdtree again. And then that continues up until here. So all of this is Erdtree. And then you get to here. And it's back to the normal stone. You can clearly see the divide. And it stays that way all the way to here. Up to Sellia. So I don't know how I feel about that. This stretch of road is Erdtree. This stretch of road is Erdtree, but the rest isn't. And I don't know how I feel about that. The best I can gather is that the road to Sellia, from Sellia to the Summonwater Village, existed before anything else. Like, this was like the highway that probably even predates the Erdtree Highway. But then the Erdtree Highway was set up after the land was conquered, and like maybe these are like repairs. It's like, okay, we need to repave this road, so this section and this section got redone. That's the only thing I could think of. Cool detail on the road tiles. Exactly. That's why I noticed this while I was going through this area casually in preparation for doing this with you guys on stream, because I already did all, as you can see, Limgrave and Peninsula. But this is the area now I want to look into, because this is the last place where we can possibly map out Godfrey's battles. So it's like, okay, he goes probably east up until Saints Bridge, then goes south all the way down to Morn, gets sieged at Morn, defeats the hero, moves on after giving a respectful burial, returns probably to Stormvale, have some fun, enjoy the gladiatorial arena, whatever, right? Gets ready so he can march his second campaign where he can capture Fort Height, Obviously, probably Mistwood Ruins on the way. And then obviously probably goes up and around. There may be another march happening across Saints Bridge to Summerwater Village. Again, this is where it gets a little vague for me because we just don't think we have a lot of evidence on any possible battle here. Maybe if there's like an Ash of War we get in this area, that might really help narrow that down. But again, that's a separate discussion. And then where is it? Right, and then we have him coming into here. So let's go back here for a second and try to see if we can find any burial grounds. If you guys know of any like graveyard areas, like please shout them out because I'm going to be looking at chat a lot more now. But first, let's see. The Ashes said that Farum Azula is already a ruined mausoleum, and it is said stuff feels oddly distant if the gold. Well, here's the thing: the it is said stuff is used is used everywhere. I say this to everyone who ever brings up like it is said or so it's rumored or whatever. That usually the term toyu, when it's used in the Japanese script, it's used like 50% of the time in the script, and like for really basic information. It's a literary device. It should not be taken seriously. So you never like kind of look at that and be like, oh, it's distant or whatever. Like, believe me, it's irrelevant. If you read Abyssal Archive, I can promise you're gonna find that phrase used a lot. If you read enough of my website content, you're gonna see that phrase used a lot. It's just a literary device. It's used a lot in the Japanese language generally, and especially in these kinds of things where it's like, oh, let's frame something. Well, let's say it's said, but wait, it's supposed to be the secret event no one ever hears about, so who's saying this? It doesn't matter. No one cares. Anyway, I'm not sure Eldest Son holds the same emphasis in this world, though. The world overall seems more matriarchal. I would agree with you, Platty, but I think the idea is just generally the concept of he's like the crown prince and that he's the person that would be second in command after Godfrey, right? Who knows? Maybe if Godfrey ever perished, it would have been expected for America to marry her son. You never know. You never know in this Marden-inspired world. Godwyn might be the public eldest son if Morgott and Mohg came first. The thing is that Morgott and Mohg come fairly late in the timeline versus to a lot of early events, and it's quite possible that at least Melina has to be born before Mohg and Morgott, so it's quite possible that Godwyn is too, especially if he comes before her. But again, that's the thing that I feel like there's enough ambiguity that we could say, does Godwyn actually come first or not? Let's see. So he could have been the youngest, but the public was only allowed to learn of him and thus mistook him to the oldest. That stuff is I don't know. When we're talking about like, oh, well, the public mistook him for something, did they? Again, we don't have any statements or anything on people's perspective of Godwyn in this capacity. It's mostly us inferring based on behaviors and stuff. So I don't know if there's anything where public perception plays into that. Hey, I am good to see you. Well, we all made a grave mistake. I have a question. What are with the wagons with the chest, the ones pulled by the trolls? Those are grave carriages types of deal. It's them bringing the dead to places, usually probably to have their loot and crap and give them a proper burial. I think there's a burial place around here, so. This is the place with the Trina stuff, right? So it's like, oh, Trina had a presence here. I think there's a Trina item here. Yeah, I knew. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a graveyard for this village somewhere. Yeah, it's over here. Oh. That was close. Okay, so 2 does it. Good to know. God. Speaking of. No, I don't want to become part of your slime hentai. Go away. Ah! Oh no! I've been hurt by the slime. It took out like 10% of my health. If that. Okay, can we? Thank you. Let's do it. Oh, right. This is not Dark Souls. I keep pressing triangle in Dark Souls and X in Elden Ring. What is wrong with me? Oh no, I actually ruined that. My bad. It's supposed to be like here, right? Okay. I came into the middle of an Elden Ring lore discussion. I feel confused. That's fuck. No problem, I am. A YouTuber named Elizabeth has a nice video showing the full routes all the patrolling wagons take. Yeah, that's a good video to reference, because I don't think I've gone through all the areas in the game that might have wagons, right? Because, actually, because there's none here, right? So maybe Consecrated Snowfield has one, but, like, I think I may have seen them all. Because I think we see them in Limgrave. We see a few derailed in, like, Weeping Peninsula and, like, Caelid and stuff, right? Liurnia, we see a few. Like, one here, and I think one derailed here. Lindell, I think we see one up here. I don't think we see any in Volcano Manor. I don't think we see any anywhere else except maybe derailed somewhere. And then, yeah, I guess Consecrated Snowfield might have one. I don't think Haligtree would have them, and I don't think Farum Azula would have one either. Most of them seem to stop kind of randomly, except the Stormveil and Ardina ones. Well, I imagine because the idea, it's similar to, like, the Dark Wraiths when they march onto the Abyss Watchers, and then they kind of stop and kind of be like, well, I guess we can always, like, give them 5 more minutes before we go in. I'm pretty sure it's one of those things where, like, they have to stop at some point. It's like, okay, this is a good stopping point. It's supposed to be, like, these passing world events where you kind of just, oh, look, see, they're going along the road as if they are, like, going through their normal routine, but it's always, like, this scripted, okay, like, walk from, like, I don't know, like, what's the, walk from, like, here to, like, here or something, right? With, the one that passes through, yeah, where's Selen's area? Where's those ruins? Oh, no, this is the wrong way. That's why I'm like, I'm looking at the wrong section, no. Yeah, it's like, I think there's, like, a carriage that goes from, like, here to, like, here or something. And, like, it's the perfect place when you come out of the waypoint ruins because you already see it start approaching or whatever. But otherwise, it's like, if you actually stayed and wait, I'm sure it would look silly. Anyway. Let's see. I'm not seeing any graves anywhere here. There is Fort, though, so the Fort might have a graveyard somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair to say, at least, Night Scout. At least the Dark Wraiths do stop at the door close enough that you're like, okay, they're getting themselves, like, you can imagine, like they're just about to go in, they're right about to go in, like, they're really all prepared, they're like, okay, ooh, deep breaths, we're ready for this, we've been building up for this moment, we're finally getting our revenge on old fuckboy Artorias. Like, at least there's that for them. By the way, did we ever confirm if these if these are associated with the Fire Monks at all? Oh, or if these are, like, completely unrelated. Ow. Ow. I hate Caelid. Snowfield has 2 with Trina's Torch and Teacher of Millennia's Sword, if I recall. That makes sense then, because that's presumably where a bunch of Trina people are dying. See you later. I came to just say hi. Have a nice stream. You too, I am. Wonderful seeing you. Ooh, good. All right, let's go this way. Oh, wait, we have the catacombs here. So let's do this real quick. Oh, what's happening here? Yep, okay. Yeah, I don't care. Where the hell is this? Oh, wait, this is one of those trick ones, right? Ow. Ow. There we go. Thank God none of them have projectiles they can throw. Alright, back down here, right? No, actually. Doesn't look like that's a drop down. I guess we just go backwards. Oh, no, no. Please tell me I looked at it wrong. Yeah, I did. Good. Phew! Oh my god. do you have this range? Woo! You piece of shit! Alright, this is the one where you have to run all the way through the rot to get to the end, right? Yeah. Can you all die of Scarlet Rot, please? I know you're made of stone, but a guy can dream. Ooh, boy. Okay, we're at the Erdtree burial spot. Obviously, the whole catacombs can be considered some form of burial, but I kind of want to get to the centerpiece just so I have that noted. So, okay, here. Here. Okay. We'll go to Caelem Ruins. Tanks are fire monks, if I recall correctly. Gotcha. I think a volcano area, there's a lot of fire monks with fire chariots. Uh-huh. Gotcha. I wonder if they loan them out. Like, it's like, hey, we'll rent them for sale if you need them. It's like, Guradan's like, hey, can I have some of those, like, flamethrower tanks you got there? I could use them. I don't think there's any graves here by the Colosseum, right? Like, I'm pretty sure the Colosseum is pretty normal. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm not seeing any graves. Well, just gonna ignore that then. There's the pots here, but I'm not gonna count that. I do find it funny that the minor Erdtrees can survive rot so much better than burning. Like, we see them get, like, actually burned down. So awful. But, like, they get a little scarlet rot on there, like, well, you know, it chafes a little, but we'll manage. I'm not seeing any up here, right? Nope, that skyline's clear. There's also a great battleground in Liurnia with cuckoos fighting dolls, and there are yeah, okay, yeah, the cuckoos fighting the dolls, if I recall correctly, is because of a sorcerer summoning spirits, right? I think that's a thing. Or are we talking? Oh, is that a different area that we're thinking about? And there are ruined fire monk tanks up there with the creepy interior design. Oh yeah. Okay, no. So yeah, I think there was the, if I recall correctly, that's the area where like there's a bunch of fighting and stuff, probably with like Godric stuff normally, but one of the sorcerers seems to have betrayed, and he's summoning like puppets or spirits or whatever of the Cuckoo Knights to fight like the live people and all that. Yeah, I recall that being a thing. Lol, I am at the same place. Hi, Iron, good to see you. So squishy. I am squishy, Platy. Very squishy. Blue Swordsman would be a cool DLC boss. Yeah, that would be true. It would be interesting. At the very least, I'd like more items for the character. There are graves in Lower Leyndell near a few skeletons. If they have the Lower Leyndell, if they have near a few skeletons, if they have the Leyndell grave design, that might explain why those gold skeletons are the same as the foot soldiers. Lower Leyndell. Where would be Lower Leyndell? Like here? Are we talking about like this section here? Or are we talking about like actually in the city underground or something? Want clarification there. My focus right now is Caelid. I'll focus on graves in other areas as they come up. Ugh. Still not seeing anything. I'm surprised such a big settlement doesn't have a more obvious graveyard area. But I guess it might be mostly a transit town. Maybe they give their bodies for sorcery. Celia's like, ooh, we'll take your dead off your hands. Yeah, let's go pick up my runes now. It could also be that, like, whatever graveyards did exist have been buried under the rot. That's also a possibility. Uh-huh. There we go. Oh no! Zidogi! Yeah, because you can clearly tell the tanks are, at least in this case, working with the Radahn's forces, so it can't just be a case of the Fire Monks. They have to be renting some of these out, or maybe they're taken because they're used by the Erdtree Order in general and not just the Fire Monks. Being squishy is fun. I'm doing level 6 Faith. Ah! I was looking the wrong way! Being squishy is fun. I'm doing level 6 Faith. It's so amazing. New weapon upgrades. Listen, man, if you want to be a masochist, be my guest. Isn't the Larva Cure troll by a grave? I think so, Platy. Near Lionel's armor and the Tree Spirit. Oh, I know what you're talking about. These graves. Yeah, okay, I know what you mean by Lower Lanedale. You mean the Nox Quarter, right? Because you have all the golden topped buildings, and then you have the non-golden topped buildings, which are done in the style of Celia and other Nox above ground settlements. So yeah. And you have the small graveyard here. So drugged people. I see. I mean the Starlight Shard puppets, yeah. Sorry, I forgot about the Mannequin Troopers for a moment. No problem. Ashen, non-golden roof quarter, Lanedale. Yeah, that one. Within the city, but not underground. Yeah. Gotcha. Larva Teal Troll is almost directly south of the Kaled Highway, south side of Grace by the coast. Oh. So somewhere around here, then. Okay, we'll look up there. Let's go by Fort Gale. That's the jail cave. Let's go to Fort Gale North. Nox Quarter, well, it's a non-gold part, so true there. Last time I think you called it the poor quarter related to classism. I was open to that as well, probably. It could be possible that it's poor. But I don't know if I actually said that. I'll be honest, I don't remember. I have considered that, but I think the case being made that it's, at the very least, the fact that the buildings are copy-pasted from Celia, and I think there's some place in up here that might also be the same way, is at least worth looking into. The proximity to this, what do they call it? Eternal City. I can't believe I forgot the English name for a second. I was like, how did they translate this? Right, of course, Eternity, Eternal City. Yeah, so that at least gives me pause to think this might be a full-on Nox Quarter. We got the Erdtree, burial thing there. We have the regular graveyard, like, around here-ish, I think. Alright. I have so many graveyards to look at. Oh, no, chat. I'm gonna finish the Reign of Godfrey, and it's gonna be like, well, I need to do a case study of all the graveyards in Liurnia, or some shit. It's gonna be like, oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, wow, you're still alive. Gotcha. Well, don't mind if I leave. Oh, no. It's up here, that's why. I'm like, I could have swore. Yeah, here we go. No graveyards around here either. Do people just not bury their dead in Caelid? Yeah, and there's no catacombs or anything in this area. Just the regular tunnels. I don't think the cave is anything like that either, right? It's just a bunch of jails. Jails and caverns. Nothing I see here on this ledge. Okay, we're gonna skip this camp. I don't see anything there besides the Virgin. And let's avoid this side until we, like, get here and start exploring. For now, let's focus on the south. Ah, I knew it. I was like, there's gotta be some graveyard to hop down here into this village. I was like, yeah, I knew it. Okay, so we'll do here. Alright, so this is the graveyard to this ruins here. These ruins are covered. Do you have any others here, though? I don't think so, right? If there were any other graveyards in these fields, they have since been completely consumed by the rot. I think we can safely say that. Graveyards might be inside the castles. Ooh, that's true. I don't remember if Fort Gale was big enough for that, though, so we're going to have to double-check that in a sec. Yeah, I'll check inside Fort Gale in a moment. Just a minute. Gotta check around here. Okay, there's a bunch of worshippers. I don't know why, but I really like these guys. I think they're my favorite little, like, vignette in the game. Just a bunch of them, like, bowing down to the swamp and stuff. Our goddess! Our goddess! She is risen! She is risen! Ah! I find it interesting how the Scarlet Rot has seemingly created massive wooden vines in Caelid. Vines, even wooden ones, can try to affect trees akin to some mushrooms with the Scarlet Rot's themes. I'll be honest, I find it hilarious how they're able to make this all work together. Especially when, after someone pointed out to me how the thorns that are supposed to be, obviously, Deathroot, are obviously not Deathroot when you look at them. They're just regular-ass thorns. It's like, oh boy, that's a little awkward. That's a little bit of, oops, we were trying to connect something that really wasn't originally planned to connect. Whoopsie. This is for the Radahn battle, if I recall correctly, right? Yeah. This is for their Caelid battle. Let's check Caelid Waypoint Ruins. Nope, that didn't work. Darn. I was taking a gamble there. I was like, I'm sure I can somehow keep this horse hooves attached to that slightly vertical plane. Slightly. Graveyard's down here at the bottom of the ruins. Alright, ready for some extermination time, chat? In fact, you know what? I hate you. Ow. Any more? Anybody else want to join the grave? Ay, ay, ay. Well, okay, we got this graveyard marked. This is the Caelid Waypoint Ruins. Now, if I recall correctly, waypoint is the term you... Yeah, okay, so these... the waypoint ruins here refers to a term that basically means, like, an in-town, or, like, Yeah, in-town is the best translation, if you want to be literal. But the idea is, like, these towns would be set up back in feudal Japan as a way for supply convoys and stuff to stop, and they could, go into the hot springs, get rest, get food, restock on supplies before they continued the trade route or whatever, right? So these towns kind of sprung up for that purposes for official convoys and things of that nature. So one of these cool little details we have here about the idea that, okay, so these are towns that sprung up because of like stuff like the highways here and stuff like that. I can't remember what item we get here, though, so I don't know if we can date this to the Banished Knights taking over the region, or if this would have to come after Godfrey's conquests. I can definitely see waypoint towns being made in the during Radagon's era of prosperity, though. Like, it's like, okay, let's like secure the trade routes here and like really get like trade and economy going now that Godfrey's finished conquering everything for us. By the way, YouTube does not allow me to say that. Now I can visit you in your fever dream vampire. What the hell? I mean, you always say the most hilarious things. Judging by the pool nearby, Millennia really screwed up the hot spring. Yeah, I suppose that's true, huh? That's definitely true. We're also gonna have to do a run at some point so I can mark all these here. I can't remember. Is there a giant one along this coastline further up? I remember there being one like maybe near here or something, but I can't remember. I know there's the giant one near the church, which is like, okay, that's from the era of the giants when they lived here. Where is it? Yeah, this Church of the Plague and all that. Alright, where do we go from here? I think there's graveyards by the cathedral, so let's go there first. Okay, this is our troll friend, right? This is where the troll would be. Our little silver tier disguising itself as a person. Yeah, because they're like all... Jeez, I wonder what happened to the people at the cathedral. Man, I'm sure when Godfrey came, he was like, "Oh, look at this, a pagan church. I'm going to convert this and make it into one of my own for the good of the Erdtree King." Nope, raise it to the ground. These two Banished Knights being like, "We're the only survivors." Honestly, he looks like he's less staring at Fort Height and more staring at Morn. Which, I'll be honest, either way. It's probably like, look at all this land we used to own. It's like the Queen of England when she sees all her former colonies. Aside from the Morn clan and possibly Echelade, Godfrey seems to have assimilated a lot of the people he conquered too. Yeah, to an extent, it seems like if you were, From when we talk about the Unification Wars, I don't know about Echelade or No, actually, it's pronounced Echelade, I think, in the Japanese. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. I don't know Celtic, but So I've said it before. I've concluded Oriza is Godfrey's clan. There's the Morn. There's the Morn Heroes tribe, which is like buried here. There is the Windham, which are a bunch of Banished Knights. It's a Banished Knight settlement. There's the Lux, who some of them seem to have been taken in as gladiators, but again, they've otherwise been assimilated. Same thing with the Windham. It seems to be the only concern was to make sure that when there wouldn't be any conspiracies, they put some extra soldiers in the catacombs to guard it, to make sure, the dead stay dead. Yeah, we have that. Obviously, you have Dominula, which has probably been around for a while. Though, again, I don't know if Dominula was like a huge part of the conquest or not. I have to actually double check the graves in this section of the area, because I actually do not remember. This Woodfolk Ruins was probably built a lot later. I suspect it was built when this minor Erdtree was set up as part of Marika's research. Because, like, they have the Icon Shield, which is, like, post-Crucible era, trying to reminisce on that. It's a fairly big settlement. It also has, obviously, some stuff here. But, again, it's mostly focused around the Erdtree. So, yeah. Then there's this, the Rifeblood Ruins, which honestly, I think this might be another waypoint ruin that's obviously been taken over by the writhing blood, mass of flesh and all that stuff, right? So, because this just feels like, okay, this is like, okay, resupply before you start heading straight into the volcano. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let's focus now here. Darn it, I messed up something on my road thing, too. Funnily enough, in reference to the minor Erdtrees, Radagon's lowest resistance is fire at 0%. Well, I guess that tells you something. Now, where was I? Thank you, sir. Oh, whoopsie, sorry, sir. Wrong button. Yeah, it looks more like he might be staring, like, just generally, like, here. Like, around the Morn area. I think the idea is just he's looking off at the old territories in general and just being like, oh no, everything we used to have, and now we've been reduced to here. Because you have to imagine, Godfrey's essentially, he pushes up, he has to take over the Keelam ruins because we have the giant shield and this thing related to like giants or whatever shield that's like buried underground here. It could connect to the tanks, but I think they're coincidental. I think it's just like a meta reference by the developers because the actual shield and stuff seems to deal with the idea that they're a reminder of the giants and all that. And that just, this seems like too late to be like actually putting this underground and storing it in this ruined town with the tanks and all that. But maybe. Anyway, I think this was probably an area where Godfrey might have set up a little base of operations. Again, we obviously know that the Colosseum had to be built here. So again, probably, I don't know if he went east first or if he went south, but either way. Eventually, he's got to start heading down this way and start capturing Fort Gale, the Waypoint Ruins. Again, this assumes the Waypoint wasn't added later. And then, of course, the Cathedral here. There's the Caelid Catacombs here, too, so that's good. Because there's 2 burial grounds in this area, and if I recall correctly, I think there's a platform graves around here. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's get this net mark down. I wonder if there's iron ore in Caelid, like in the mountaintops. I don't recall anything, but would be interesting. Iron ore? Oh. Oh. There's iron ore in the there's iron ore in the mountaintops? Gosh, I don't recall us talking about this before. That's very interesting. If so, I have to look out for that. Platy, when would you place the giant corpses in Caelid? This is before they move into the mountaintops. Obviously, if they had to move into the mountaintops and take it over from the ice dragons, they had to have been living somewhere else before they squatted in. And the obvious answer to this would be, well, the land just south of the mountaintops, Caelid, with all the giant skulls everywhere. That would assumably be their burial ground. And like I said earlier, we have a giant, where is that church? Here. Like right here is a giant, what are those things called? It's one of those star-looking devices that you see in, like, all around the lands, but they're mostly human-sized. This one's clearly giant-sized. And it doesn't have a justification for that, unlike, say, the Karian Royal Manor or the Academy, which have similar giant ones, but it's like, okay, it's the Academy or the Manor. Of course, they're going to make a giant, oversized one to kind of, like, you know, flex. Because it's, you know, big, magic, star-studying place. We go here. Let's see. The queen isn't seeing anything she did. Did you ever go to the cave near the Virgin Caelid? I think I did, but I don't know if there's a burial ground there. Hello? Hello? Map? Yeah, I went to Abandoned Cave. Nap! Uh-oh. My game froze. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Don't worry, chat. Don't worry, chat. Uh-oh, game crash possibly soon. Yeah, it crashed. Map go boom. Okay, yeah, let's I'll answer more questions while we get this all started back up again. My game just crashed. Okay, so Smithing Stone 8 and 9 on the mountains are said to be vitrified too, probably from the Fire Giant's extreme heat. I'm gonna have to look at that in the Japanese then, because I honestly have overlooked a lot of the Smithing Stone stuff, because I saw like a bunch of the early ones and thought, oh, it's just generic text, nothing to really look at here. Good to know. Yeah, just like golden ore and Altus, except red. Ooh. Ooh. That is good to know, Xavier. We're gonna have to look at that. Ha, the map has been pretty unstable. Ay. Right after a new patch, too. That new patch clearly didn't help with my game stability. In fact, while we wait for this to start up, chat, I'm gonna go get some more water, so BRB. What's this ore we're talking about? From what I understand, they're talking about like the veins you'll see of rock in the rock faces of stuff. So like when you get into Altus, John, you'll notice that the basic rock stuff that characterize the lands, like stuff like this or this, instead of having like these basic like rocky little vein effects that you see here, right? They're just like basic like, oh, scratches or whatever, right? Like weathering. They'll instead be like golden colored. And you'll be like, oh, so there's like gold veins almost in these rocks. And then from what Xavier and Night Scout are describing, it sounds like there's something similar in the mountaintops, but it's more like iron with more of a reddish glow almost to it. I'm going to have to pay attention to that type of thing. Nope. Just, nope. Ow! No. Go away. Go away! I don't want you! Leave me alone! Leave me alone! You don't need me, I don't need you, just go away. Darn it, I went the wrong way. Oh, death. Death. Glorious death. I checked about it a long time ago. Yeah, unfortunately, Xavier, I have the memory of a sieve. So, like, you guys will say stuff, I'll be like, oh my god, why didn't you tell me sooner? I did. God, it makes you wonder why I write everything for my website. You think I do it for you. No, it's done for me so I can remember everything. It's like, ah, yes, I wrote this down. I think I've told this story before. The number of times that I have, like, been like, oh my god, I never noticed that detail before. It's so cool. And you could come to this conclusion, that conclusion. Ooh, let me write this up and add it to my thesis. And then I go to my thesis, I'm like, oh, wait, I already did. And I absolutely can't remember when in hell I first discovered that thing. It's happened so many times to me at this point. It's like, how the hell do I go through life as it is? I really have to wonder for myself. Wait, I want to get my stuff up there at some point, huh? Ah, whatever, we can farm it. But we could just, like, warp in. Can't, no, we want to do this first because the stupid enemies are still up there. So yeah, no graves here except for the catacombs. Those crows are hellish. They even have a fake out attack where they make the staggered sound but then do a grab. Oh wow, that is truly hellish. Like, what the fuck? Is the giant skull meant to be an indicator that the fire giants rather than an to the fire giants rather than an actual corpse? Yes, that's exactly my point I was making earlier, John. When we see all those giant skeletons slash skulls in this land, it's telling us, oh, just like in the mountaintops, this is where giants once lived. Oh, cool. You can see like standard graves here. Coolio. I wonder how common that is. I've never noticed that there's actual real graves here in these corners. Neat. I've always thought it was these little, like, cubby little burial places. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Holy hell! We are deep! Oh! We are deep inside. Like, I didn't even realize. Whoa, boy. I read your article on Pregnant Dog, then I wanted to say that you solved the mystery, but when I saw date, I was, oh yes, I did read that like years ago too! Yeah, it's like, there's so much stuff where it's easy to forget the little details in these games, and then you rediscover them again, and then you're like, oh my god, I never knew this before! But for my case, I now have public records where I can be like, nope, I've definitely talked about this at a previous point. I'm just a dumbass and can't remember shit. Ay, ay, ay. While on the subject of lands Godfrey conquered, does the Japanese script suggest the hero of Morn's nation was genocided, or did the nation just fall in as one clan with it died? I don't know if it was genocided per se. But it definitely seems to be a case where basically all of them were dead, yes. For all intents and purposes, they were all dead. That was at least my impression reading the script, but let me get out of this hellhole and I'll pull up the exact text for it. Because I think it's just the sword and the monument that mention the hero, so at least... Actually, no, there's also technically that talisman that does. Ow! Stop it! Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Whoopsie. There we go. I don't see any graves here. Yep. Okay, we can ignore that then. Are you done? Nope. Still trying to make my life miserable. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed chowing down. Now, I'm just going to sneak past you. So please, don't aggro. For all that is holy, don't aggro. Yay. Alright. I don't think there's any graveyard up here, right? It's only out back, so let's go here. The description to the Ash of War mentioned Oath to Avenge the Clan too. I need to look at the Ashes of War more. I have not done much in translation work for them. Though I have noticed, for the few I've looked at, a lot of them say the same stuff as like their incantation equivalent or something, but they've often been localized differently, so there may be a different spin or tone that makes you think there might be more information that they're giving than they actually are. The giant fauna armor makes me wonder if it's some sort of corruption by the Fell God, like the Yellow Sheep and Golden Altus. Well, we were talking about Xavier last stream on Elden Ring. The idea that the dogs with the giant heads were brought from Caelid to the mountaintops, like they're native to Caelid. And, like, that's the idea, is that the Erdtree Kingdom repurposed them after killing the giants, because, like, hey, we'll take your pets too, why not? They'll accept new owners if we feed them. Let's see, what's the exact line I want to grab? Siege. Okay, so let's see. In the Morn Siege, a vengeful hero battles all by his lonesome, has been defeated by King Godfrey, blah, blah, blah. Okay, legendary weapon possessed by Morn Castle, a great sword of revenge, shouldering countless griefs and wraths. one of the legendary weapons. Once the hero of a destroyed country who alone survived, collected all the swords of his clan's warriors and continued battling. So it doesn't necessarily indicate genocide, but it does give the idea that basically Godfrey and his people end up basically destroying the entire country of his tribe or whatever, right? And he was the only one who ended up surviving from that. Again, the exact circumstance is because they were all warriors, and therefore all of them ended up dying in the battle, except for him. Like, he's like, the guy who everyone thinks is dead, but then he wakes up, like, later in the battle, he finds, alone in a mountain of corpses or what have you? Or was it something where it's like, okay, Godfrey's now killed all the warriors, and now all the women and children who refuse to surrender or something are going to be killed too? Like, again, it feels like I feel like it's probably the former, because it seems the way that Godfrey and company treat other areas, it would be weird if this is the case where he's particularly genocidal in this case. Because we have to keep in mind, like, the first major battle, at least in my impression, is with the Banished Knights at the Fortified Manor and stuff like that. That seems to be, like, the first big, like, where, okay, Godfrey now gets the land for America, and now they're going to go out and conquer the rest of the plateau to secure their holdings on this landmass. I just don't feel like if he's sparing Sarash, making deals, becoming a proper king at this juncture and all that, that he's going to genocide them. But hey, it's possible that this battle with the tribe was happening before fighting at the Fortified Manor and battling Sarash. That's possible too. I mean, the graveyard is a little further out, but it's right next to the Ariza tombs and stuff like that. So it's quite possible that there was like, because I think if I remember right, Ensha is the Golden Bone Skeleton and is a king as well. So if Ensha's the king and that's the country, you have to make you wonder if then the Banished Knights were in league with the Morn Heroes tribe or something of that nature. Something to think about, I suppose. Alright, let's continue on. Was there a giant in Moog's area? There's the giant spirit skeleton with giant crowns down there. Okay, remember, John, this is where the giants are summoned. This is Caelid. So, again, if there are a bunch of giants buried here in the lands of Caelid, then it would make sense that those who are living literally directly beneath Caelid could summon their spirits. That seems to be the justification there. The crows are there too. Oh, the crows are there too. Ooh, I guess they brought the crows up there too. So, I guess you can't keep pet crows like you could keep pet dogs, huh? Oh, no, it's just hanging stuff. Oh. Ow. There we go. I don't know why the lock-on wasn't working, but okay. Right. Cannot do that. Moving this way. Isn't there a graveyard, like, over there, if I recall correctly? Let's go up here. As a side, I feel that Lou possibly released the name Horalu's tribe. Otherwise, it feels a little odd that once the only characters feels like sharing their last name. The thing is that Horalu is written as one word in Japanese. So I'm not convinced that that's necessarily a surname. It might just be their naming convention. I am Horalu! And it's like two distinct syllables or quote-unquote words, but it's technically only his first name. I don't think anyone calls him Hora. No, not here. Yeah, whatever. Can I? Nope, not here either. Okay, fine. So we'll just go this way. Let's get the graveyards here. Is Nephililu's name one in Japanese too? I have to double check. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've looked at them. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, Horalu is one word in Japanese last time I looked. But I'll have to double check with him and Nephili and reconfirm for you. Yeah, it's same thing with Rhea Lucaria, for example. Now, here's the problem. Because Japanese doesn't have proper spacing in their language, usually if they want to really clarify that these are, like, two distinct words or whatever, they'll put, like, a special dot or, basically an equal sign or something to that effect. Usually the equal sign is reserved for people's names in my experience. But anyway, the point is, like, they have these, like, special symbols they'll use to kind of simulate that, because they don't actually use spaces in their language. It's all one string of characters, if that makes sense. Was I mistaking the graveyard for that there? Maybe. I don't see any burials happening here. Yeah, I don't see any graves here. I might be thinking of, like, Castle Sol or some shit. Nephili is a summon for Godfrey. Wait, what? Wait, what? Are we serious? Can Godfrey actually use summons and Nephili's one of them? What? Oh, you mean summon against Godfrey, as in you can summon her. Okay. I was about to be like, wait, do we have, like, Gale mechanics or some shit? What? Okay, yeah, so there's just this. Damn it. She went behind there. Really? Oh, you've got... Stupid dog! Okay, yeah, we're good here. Alright, so we got the graveyard back here. How do they handle Gideon Ofnir? Does he get the dot or equal sign? I think he does, but let me double check. Again, let me double check with this for you guys now, because, again, I remember Hoarah being one word, but let me double check. Actually, better. Oh, no, it is written as 2. It is written with the dot. Yeah, okay, Hoarah is written with the dot. Okay, I'm misremembering then. You know what? I'm thinking of, like, some of the cut dialogue, which does have it written as 1. That's why. Okay. Nepheli, same thing. It does have a dot. So, yeah, these are 2 distinct words. Yeah, look, this is some of the cut stuff that kept it without the... And then... what's the other one we want to look at? Gideon, right? Gideon, I'm pretty sure. Gideon uses the equal sign. That's interesting. That's... Huh. Yeah, every time his name is mentioned, his uses the equal sign. That's a little unusual. I'm not used to seeing media which use 2... Like, usually the... Depending on the author, they might, like, switch between them depending on the situation, but they tend to be very consistent. Huh. Ah, so Hoarah is the dot after all. Yeah, but Gideon uses the equal sign. That is interesting. So that might be a way for the... I don't want to say that could be a way to indicate that that Hoarah and Nephili are still being used to refer to a first name or something. But that it's definitely bizarre when you see it used in two different symbols being used to make that type of point about I don't know how to say word separation with katakana. Of course, Gideon would get an equal sign. Gideon equals Ofnir. I think you can also summon Shibiri for Godfrey as well. Well, that's not surprising, honestly, Xavier. I would not be surprised with that at all. Man, that just reminded me that Kenneth Haidt is one of the only guys with 2 names. Let me look at Kenneth right now, actually. It says it searched 5 instances, but it doesn't work. What? Spreadsheet, you drunk? There we go. Wait, why are you still stuck on... Oh my god, this spreadsheet is drunk. Alright, we're gonna reset this real quickly. Just gonna do a quick F5. Because this spreadsheet apparently thinks that Gideon Ofnir is Kenneth Haidt. Come on. Come on. God, this is the problem when searching the dialogue on this thing. There's so much. It's like, give me a second, boss. I just gotta search the whole document. I'll make sure it's gonna work, sir. Even the spreadsheet kills Kenneth Haidt. It means if Gideon is the 1 equals name, maybe it would be tied into the theory of him being a Nox. I wonder if Ken has the daughter that's... Yeah, we're going to check right now. Because if so, then there might be that they're trying to make a distinction between the warrior tribesmen and the civilized people like Gideon. Because that would be the first thing I'm thinking of if there's some significance to it. It could just be that Miyazaki's just not being consistent. Nope. Kenneth has the dot. Kenneth has the dot, so it's just Gideon. That is... I have to now look for other characters who have, like, first names, second names, or whatever, that we could possibly check if anyone ever mentions their quote-unquote full name. Because, no, he has... Kenneth, yeah, he uses the dot. Kenneth Haito. I spend a lot of time with spreadsheets. Gideon is an ass. Gideon just thinks he's special. He's like, no, I get the fancy rendering of my name. Not like all you plebs. Well, that was a learning experience. So yeah, Lu could be a surname then for the barbarian warriors, Nefeli and Horalu. That is possible. So your idea then, Night Scout, was you would think that the Lu would be the surname for the tribe, or the name of the tribe that he comes to. Again, I stand by that. I still think it's the Ariza. Just the way that these tombs are used, the way they're named, and things like that. Obviously, the gold connection to Orium, because the Japanese name is more like Oreza, so it's like Orium gold in Latin and all that. Anyway, where are we currently? We're here at Redmane. Honestly, I should just do this. Use my L3, but I keep forgetting. We got that. We got that. If I recall correctly, there's a burial ground here. Even paid off the narrator to yell his name more than the others. And Sir Gideon of there! The all-knowing! It's like, oh gosh. Narrator was like having a cumgasm at that moment. It was like, oh, Gideon of there! Oh, yeah, it's like, dude, calm down. Well, like, you're not gonna get into Gideon's pants doing all this. Alright, because we have the two... Actually, you know what? Let's do them for the two sides individually, so that way I never forget this detail. Again, we still have the blank plane tiles. There's Gowry's dog. Fuck the mutt. Are there any other graveyards in Sellia? I can't remember. I want to say no. But, admittedly, I don't recall exploring this area, even though I know we did it at some point, so I would not be surprised. Let's get a higher vantage point. I'm not seeing any graveyards so far. Yeah, not high enough. Now, it looks like Sellia submitted at some point, either after Godfrey's last battle or as part of Godfrey's final battles. We don't know which one, I think, yet, because we don't see a big enough graveyard yet. Well, actually, we might. Actually, now that I think about it. Because after we go up here, this is where we get to the quote-unquote Erdtree section. You can see the giant statue. So, like, this is where the Nox section is, right? With the throne and all that, over where the boss battle. Oh. Excuse me. Oh. Wasn't expecting you to survive that, buddy. Okay, so you have the statue here, and it's right next to where the Nox have their little throne cubby. But this is where we start getting to the graveyard leading to the Church of Marika up above. This is a proper burial ground here. Lots of bones. Alright, so I don't see anything else in this town. Wait. What the hell is that? Chat. Is that like a windmill thing? If so, what could they possibly be using that for? It's not a bell tower. I would have expected a bell tower, if anything. It looks like a wind vane of some sort. Very odd. Huh? Oh, you are dead. Okay, good. Hello there. Going up. Oh my, I almost got hit by that. Just imagine, those are skeletons of so many people who've tried to get up this stupid mountain but are killed by a giant ball. I do find that funny to think about. Anyway, now we're at the graveyard section, so let's start adding these. Oh my. Get over here. Now, where was I? Yeah, so about here, we'll do that. Oh. There's a lot of bodies here, which makes me think this may be where a lot of the dead were being buried that we've been talking about up until now at all these various battles. I have to wonder. Cool. Cool, a weapon I apparently already have. So now we have, like, general idea. Okay, there's graveyards literally everywhere around this church. Ow. Ow. Alright. There's our giant star reading device. Giants are like, oh, fell god! He wants to communicate us from atop the mountain. Let's get atop it. So here's a question. Do we have any confirmation in the text anywhere that the giants actually created the cauldron? Because I've heard people talk about how the cauldron has the same style as some of the ancient civilization ruins we've talked about previously, like, say, here in Caelid. And I'm wondering if it's not that the, if it's not that this was made by the giants per se, but rather that it was already created by an ancient civilization that the giants took over to use for their flame. I had that thought recently. Right, excuse me. Just moving right along. Yeah, this graveyard is way too extensive to me to just be like, oh, this is just the normal populace. They just have had a lot of deaths over their long history. Right, you're the guy who's secretly guarding the secret tunnel. Which I can't believe I found that by total accident. It still boggles the mind. Interesting how big of a gap there is, though. But I guess that's why they want to hide any sense of the tunnel. It's like, yeah, no, we just bury dead here. Only other reason we would visit, we just, just going to see Grandma. No other reason whatsoever. We gotta get into the catacombs in Radahn's arena at some point. Okay, I think we covered everything in this section of Caelid, right, chat? I'm not missing anything? There's no secret graveyard here in the swamp or something? That's not a ball, that's Mimic Mother! That's no ball, it's a Mimic. A Mimic tear. There's graves by the Plague Church, yep. There's the undead that rise up from the backstreet graves. Not sure if there's any graves near it. Yep, nothing there. The tunnel. Yeah, like a loot tribe. Also, if Orisa has gold in it, maybe they could be for whoever first sided with Marika or whatever Newman she had with her, if any. The thing is, Night Scout, is that there's a lot of connections with them being like Tree Sentinels, Crucible Knights, things of that nature that make me think, I don't think it's just necessarily like the first people who sided. I think it's honestly for like this own Orisa tribe. It seems to be for all the people who fought in the Unification Wars in the early days and all that. This is what those tombs were made for, and that those people from that era have the most affinity with it. Man, imagine how embarrassing it'd be if Dung Eater somehow had an equal sign instead of that being one word. No, Dung Eater is in fact, because it just uses the kanji, well, Dung Eater. So it's like, yeah, that's the thing there. It would be funny, though, if they ever wrote that in katakana for the English. I would love it. Donguita. I can already see it. Donguita. Oh, that'd be great. Dumb question. Would a spy master want to be more or less subtle in this kind of setting? Just want to know if Gideon being obvious is within a bounds of that role, or if he's just especially a jackass. I don't know. I feel like Gideon is like just personality-wise, he's just kind of someone who's really into himself and him like knowing everything. That seems to be my impression of his character. Now, the whole spy master thing, I think that's just kind of part and parcel of his obsessive jackassery of like wanting to know everything. Like, you could almost say the spy master thing is like the side gig. His main thing is just reading books. Did you check the graves behind Stormvale? Yes, we did. Those have been covered, John. Right here. I think there's more, though, like here-ish. Yeah, there's like more, I think, here. So it's like... I'll have to check there real quick just to make sure I got them all. It has a chain to carry it, so I don't know, man. The Firepod is a really big Star Reader thing. Source imagination. Just put it in Elden Ring channel. Looks to be a windmill. Very good to know. That's something to look at in the future. The puppets seem to have pots powering them, if I recall. Yeah, they have like magic pots inside them at the core, and there's some lore text in the cut version that mentions this. By the way, I was reminded earlier, the Arrow's Reach Talisman lets you look a little farther with binoculars. Oh, that's cool. That's neat. Good to know. Yeah, so there's the hideaway. Okay, I think we've covered all the stuff here there, chat, so let's go this way now. One of the weirdest moods is when you realize Gideon might not actually have any chair behind that table at Round Table Hold. He literally just stands. He literally just stands with his hands on the table for support. Oh, the man never sits. Okay, here's a cool thing, chat, because I realized this. For those that you might have seen this if you've seen my doc. I was posting in the Elden Ring Discord like the new paragraphs and stuff I'm adding. So let's do this quickly. Ow! Or not. Fine, sheep. The sheep doesn't want me to get off topic. It's like, this is the grave stream. You will find graves. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, Mr. Sheep. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. let's go this way. Yeah, so we want to check Fort Pharos. Or what do they call it? Pharoth or something instead of Pharos? Oh. I don't recall there being a full corpse of you here. That's good to know. That's neat. Dragon Barrel West, Deep Sheefer Well. I don't think there's any near the tower, so I think we could skip the tower. Pharoth, yeah. God, and what did Ferris get translated as? I forget. It's the person that's like the Trina searcher or something, I think. God, I'm gonna be so bugged now. Where are my cookbooks? I have to double check this real quick. Yeah, Fever, that's what they called her. But now she's a man named Fever. Ah, good to know. I wonder if Miyazaki knows the meme in the English community. The Grace, I finally give you a reason to drop in on Ronnie again. Hey Ronnie, I'm here to check out dead people. Good to see you. Poor Ronnie, man. I went all in on doing like Fina's thing, and then like Ronnie, it's like, maybe later. Which is a shame because I really do like Ronnie and her ending. This would never have happened if the localization just translated her ending right. Clearly, it's all the localization's fault. That's why I'm not doing it right now. I don't see any other graveyards in the lead up to this. And I don't think there's any inside. I think there's just bats and stuff, right? There may be a graveyard out back, though, so let's check this way. Nope, nothing. Mm-hmm. Not seeing anything. Again, I'm not going to count the pots. Because the pots is just like, oh, let's look at the Erd trees. There are probably pots around there. There's nothing here, yeah. And then I think after the bridge, it's just normal Far Missoula burial stuff, right? Platy, fervor, no, fervor, non-fervor, fervor, synonyms, fervor, intense of feeling or expressionless booing, cheering with almost equal, fervor. God, what is this shit? You guys are now giving me a dictionary lesson? But yeah, I do find it curious how, like a lot of the old Dark Souls reference names got changed except for Gale. It's like, okay, they kept Gale at least. They also kept Morn in Arena. That's nice. But to be fair, it's like, why would you even change those? But then again, why would you change Ferris? Oh, wow, we actually do have a normal graveyard around here. That's interesting. Also kind of suspicious, given what it's next. Oh, you know what? It's right above these War Dead catacombs, though. So that may be one. Either way, though, like I said, a little sus that it's right next to this Sorcerer Tower. What were you doing, Mr. Sorcerer? Wait, is this one of those towers that has a mass of sorcerers inside of it? Like it's just a big ball of sorcerers? Where's the sorcerer balls? All right, you have to get in through the... I know I did this on my Confessor. Did I do this on this character, though? Because I thought the barrier disappeared when you entered. Well, whatever. You've got to be kidding me. Come on. Break whatever curse you got going. Don't make me go down there. I said, don't make me go down there. Hey! Well, I think we know what the graveyard up above's for. I wonder if it's an idea that this graveyard was already there and the guy built the tower there so he could grave rob it and take the bodies for this or some shit. Well, sir, if you insist. Okay, yeah, it's just never gonna open because of the crystals here. Gotcha. Well, sorry to mess up your library, bud. Oh, God, I can't read words right. I'm so lost. Lol, it's okay. Fever Dream by George R.R. Martin. Elegant book, by the way. It's fine, man. It's okay to be lost. Sometimes I get lost, too. But that's more so because I have no idea where I am on the map at times. Speaking of... Again, now this, I'm pretty sure, once we get past this bridge, it's all Farm Azula stuff, and there's no, like, standard graveyard for us to worry about. So I think we could stop here. It'd be weird. Yeah, I think this has to be something built with the tower. Like, a bunch of sorcerers all came together with Len or some shit, and they all died and got buried up here, but Len took the bodies or whatever and made a sorcerer ball, I would imagine. That's the only thing I can think of. That, or somebody else decided that after everyone died and became a sorcerer ball and got sealed and decided, well, I'm just going to make a bunch of ceremonial graves. No, they can't be, because those graves have runes in them, I'm pretty sure, so... There has to be something or someone buried there. Dragonbeard Fork. Fine Tower. Yeah, and then there's all the beast graves. I think that covers it. So let's see, let's look at the graveyard stuff. Here, so the cathedral area has a lot of it. There is a graveyard at the Waypoint Ruins, but again, this seems to be like a normal graveyard for like a normal town. Like, hey, we have a little like catacomb underneath us or whatever, so that's not something that big a deal. Fort Gale doesn't have any. Maybe that was what this was used for too, possibly? Wait, what? Oh. Why does the glintstone look weird here, or is it just the lighting? Might be the lighting. I'm not so sure, though, Xavier. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting to go against that. I think about the Stormveil Vines again. Maybe they'll say what happens when Deathroot is left outside in the sun for a long time. Again, I think it's just a matter of they're reusing assets from, like, an older idea, and they're like, okay, we'll connect this to Deathroot to make this make sense. Because the thing is, it can't just be the exposure to sunlight, because if I recall correctly, you also have the Banished Knights living in Castle Sol that also have the vine, because there's the exiled soldiers with the same vines, and the only other explanation is the Deathroot that's here, in this graveyard. So it's like, I don't think it's that. Alright, so let's see, what were we looking at? Okay, so, catacombs here. That could work, though, with this town and stuff, but they have their own little... graves here for the Forsaken Ruins. They consider this just a shack, though. I'm pretty sure it's more than just one building, isn't it? Well, it's at least 2 shacks. But yeah, it's true. It's not... It is not, like... It is... Honestly, this isn't even a shack. This is a stable. So yeah, it really is just a shack with a stable thing, huh? And a little well. Yeah, okay, so this is just a shack. Okay, gotcha. I was fooled by the other building, thinking this might be part of the larger town, but no, this is the town, It seems like the idea seems to be, okay, do you have supplies for the town? Okay, we'll drop those off here. Stuff for horses and things to help with transit. Makes sense. Yeah, you have also like carriages and stuff at the edge here to kind of reinforce that impression. And this town has that burial ground there. Ahem. Anytime now. Give up anytime now. There we go. This one doesn't have any, but that could be because they're burying them here after it's captured, right? So it's like, hey, okay, we'll bury them here in this minor Erdtree catacombs, which goes all the way to here. So I'm going to accept that as this is where they would be buried. It's like, hey, we have a minor Erdtree here. We're going to bury them here. Keelam Ruins. There's that place, which again, we confirmed there's a graveyard platforming there. We never went inside Fort Gale. So let's do that. Like I said, the Waypoint Ruins here. But the Waypoint Ruins, like I said, could be something that was established during Radagon's era. So let's try to see if we can find anything that we could connect to Godfrey. The Soul Guys tried to mess with the sun, though. I suppose that's true, but I'm not sure if it's the sun in the same way that John might be thinking. Okay, let's go ahead inside. Wow, 3 walls. Goodness me, you really know how to stop that Scarlet Rot. It's not going to go around or anything, I'm sure. Yeah, guys, stay in formation. Don't let anyone in. Yep, don't let anyone in. I'm glad I already killed the lions. You're not seeing any graveyard here. Let's look from up here, see if we see anything in the surroundings. So Fort Gale doesn't really have much going for it in terms of mortuary stuff. Oh. I was like, wait a second, I gotta jump. Whoopsie. Thank God I had iframes just for that animation. Let's see. Thank you. All right, you actually have health. Ow! I was kind of committed at that point. I was like, wait a second, this is the right spell. Whatever. We'll try it. Maybe it'll work. No, with that shield, you're going to be a bit of a pain. But not when you have it down for a second. You won't. Yeah, this is the teleportation thing, right? So... yeah, I'm not seeing anything that we could be used for a graveyard in this immediate vicinity. So again, I guess Fort Gale could be used for back here, though it's a little far. I would prefer if we had something a little closer that was immediately relevant to a battle. Yeah, and Caelid Waypoint Ruin seems to be the only other possible thing. Which I guess you can make a case that maybe the graveyard existed before the Waypoint Town, maybe? I'm not so sure about that, but... okay... this is for this catacomb here, and then the other stuff, so yeah. Seems pretty standard. We're seeing less sense of battles here. Again, Fort Faroth has the same problem. There's no real sense of a graveyard burial happening around here. Though maybe... do you think the significance that the living jars have red lids when alive might the lids stop being red once they die? I don't know. It could be a model thing. It could be a lot of things. I honestly haven't thought about it. Bloodhound Step Knight. What about Bloodhound Step Knight, Platy? Oh, dude, teleport behind you for the nothing personal kid. I see. Lusat's inside cave. He made the ball mass inside. Do you think it was Lusat? I'm not so sure, but maybe. Maybe if I compare the inside of the Celia hideaway to Lusat's location in Lynn's Rise, I might have an answer. Wait, did you ever explore Mount Gelmir's exterior? That could matter for Graves too. Yeah, but I'm not at that section yet, Night Scout, for Mount Gelmir's though. I'm looking at the Banished Knight thing, so I can kind of get all this stuff loaded up, because my big focus on my current Godfrey's Reign dock is the Banished Knight stuff. But once I have that timeline all set up and stuff, like I'm gonna finish Age of Plenty, and then I'm probably gonna skip to the Stormveil Rebellion, and then do the Godfrey campaigns, and then I'll probably then go back and maybe work on stuff like Glowmite Queen, obviously Snake Rebellion, that's gonna be where all the Mount Gelmir stuff is gonna be for sure. But yeah, it's definitely something we're gonna have to look at some point, because I need to really seriously look at information. We might do that in the normal Let's Play actually, because I still need to go back for what's his face, Rykard anyway. Yeah, I've never done Rykard or Patches' Quest. So let's see. English script has the Iron Jar Aromac mention noble jars. Are they noble due to behavior, or were they jars only meant to transport nobles' corpses? If I recall correctly, it could be either or, because the term used is noble, which is used in words like nobleman, noble family, nobility, that type of thing. But I can't remember if it's exactly that. So let's double check this. Iron Jar Aromatic. Let me open my notes here. Perfumer. I do not have it in my official notes. That sucks. So we're gonna have to look back at the text and pull that up. Items. Iron Jar. Iron Jar. Yeah, so that's Iron Jar. Yeah, okay. Forbidden thing for perfumers. Da da da. The items. Da da da. Yeah, this is just standard text. Okay, now we get to the thing. So, okay, no, I remember. This is something completely different. The word used here isn't noble in the sense of, like, nobility or something precious or valuable. It's noble in the case of someone virtuous. Yeah, the term here is Zenryo. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, good. So yeah, this is the nature of these are virtuous, good, these are good people. These are good jars. They're good, they're friendly. There's nothing, they don't got a bad bone in their body, that type of sentiment. Yes, Loki, write more Elden Ring stuff. John is just like subtly in the background like, yes, subtly move. Get that other foot inside the Elden Ring sinkhole, and then you shall forever fall. Don't the exploding jars also have different colored lids? I was kidding around about the sun, they just messed that one up. Thanks, John, you started a big theory debate over nothing. He truly is the mastermind, all according to Keikaku. The glintstone in that rise looked gray, and the Heretic's rise looked yellow, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, I'm gonna have to pay attention to that then, Xavier. We're gonna have to go back and check that out. I see. Interesting how the Lands Between seems to mention liking the living jar's behavior and personalities a lot. At least from what we see, the ones in the village are friendly, so that might be the idea, is that not all of them are like the ones in the catacombs and stuff. In that voice and everything, yes! Good, good. Everything is proceeding as I had foreseen. Let's see, Dragonbow Fork. Okay, I think we've covered everything, guys, because I'm not seeing any burial grounds around here. If they do exist, they've been covered in the rot. So let's just say that all the Gale and Foyroth graves did exist, but they're all buried in rot. This is also where Dragon Lady was, right? Dragon Mom. Dragon Mommy! She's so thick! Yeah, we wanted to check this one out, right? So let's quickly look here. Funny when Alexander hopes to one day kill and eat people, even if it's for how his people become better warriors. Yeah, it's kind of like, I shall go out and fight! And become a better, more honorable Jar! By murdering you and then ripping out your entrails and stuffing them inside my body. It's like, okay, Alexander. Kind of hardcore. Yeah, we have the two graves yard things here. So I'm going to just consider all this part of this one graveyard up here for this stuff here. We'll consider that all Stormveil graves. I don't think there's anything here for us to worry about. Purified ruins. Well, the Purified ruins have this catacombs here, so that's fine. Area Highway. Somewhere Wolfshank. We haven't gotten on top here. Eventually I have to get here. That'll be the Ronnie quest, if I recall correctly. Rodan's Catacombs. Again, this is not surprising because of the minor Erd tree here. But it doesn't seem like there's... There's the Rhodes... Yeah, there's the Rose Church here, so that might have been used for that. Folly on the Lake. I guess that could be part of the larger city ruins and stuff for burial. Church of Vows. There you have that there. Yeah, we'll look at Liurnia graves in the future. When I get to like Liurnian Wars and stuff of that nature that we want to check out. We want to remove this. We don't need this. Already got the Banished Knight stuff noted in my analysis. I haven't missed anything. Although it is interesting the Second Church of America has like an extensive graveyard here. I do find that a little curious. Hermit Shank. Got that. We got that. Oh, you know what I want to check real quickly? One, I hear that these golems won't attack you unless you attack them. So let's see if that's true. Let's see if the internet lied. Yeah, they don't attack you unless you attack them. That's neat. So you got tree sentinels on this side. Obviously, there's like Marika adorning the top and all that shit, right? But then you have priests on this side. No! I'm not exactly sure what those staffs are supposed to be, though. Like a half bowl, almost, but they don't use it for, like, fire or anything. That's a little odd, I find. Example, if the sleeping... the Altus Plateau interests me in regards to which enemies will be on the same team. Example, if the sleeping omens will be friendly if lured near lane Del troops or not. Yeah, that could be, yeah, that could be, that could be quite the interesting little regard. Is that significant in any way? So we got the Marika statues. I need to fit this into my analysis somewhere. Marika with the spear. So it's interesting how it's like, hey, if you're trying to come into our plateau, we got the tree sentinels reminding you, hey, we will defend the Erd tree to the last. Like, be careful, don't have bad intentions. But when you're leaving the plateau, you got the priests here. I guess the idea is to remind you of the faith. I can mention that in the Age of Plenty section then. And you still got the same thing with, like, obviously all the We also have America with her spear here. But what really interests me is this. So this statue is here. I'm gonna mark that. Now, chat, outside of these highways, do you know of any other place where these statues are? Like, any catacombs, any ruins, anything at all where this statue in specific is being used. Because I can think of one spot in Leyndell, and that's about it. It's not the one with the... It's the one specifically growing wildly like this, not the one with just the flower. I don't care about that one. There's also the church in Stormvale. I think that one has a similar statue enshrined. You get to live this time, horse. So all along this roadway, we have the statues here. Ow. You could have just leave it all well enough alone, but you couldn't. You just couldn't help yourselves. Oh. Kinda need a... Ooh. I don't think I can make that. I think the angle's too tight. Yeah. To be fair, do it from the front like the others, just to be consistent. So yeah, pretty consistently, there's a statue at each juncture as we go on. Nothing here. Let's check here. Godfrey's throne in Stormvale, if I recall. Okay, I gotta check that one out too then. They're in the Stormvale Castle churches as well, if I recall correctly. They line up the path from the Liurnian side too. Yeah, I remember there being at least one in Liurnia, so we gotta look at those. The capital is so pretty that it is. Were there, while here, are there any gates that would lead to straight to the watery section within Leyndell's walls? There's the main gate here, but that's the only one I can think of. That's it. Recall, this is the main gate that Godric's forces were marching on in the story trailer. Yes, there's still the America statues, but we're not seeing our big ol' wild tree friend. We have the tree sentinels on their horses. Oh yeah, the America statues seem to have gold on that sash in the back in general, not just the Chapel of Anticipation. Yeah, it's also, I've noticed it with a lot of the graves too. A lot of these graves have the same thing, where they have this like gold, like tinges of gold every now and then on them. It happens with like the graves where you platform and stuff, same thing. And as we can see, there's also something like that for America's statues with all the plants and stuff. The statue itself seems fine, but they make the plants have that gold tinge thing. So it seems to be a bunch of different things. Anyway. By the way, someone a couple streams ago was asking if the yellow on the America statue cloth was worn gold plating. Well, the statues with the spear have the same effect. Yeah, you're exactly right, Xavier. I was looking through that right now. And like I said, I noticed it when we were looking at the, again, it was off stream before I was streaming this. When I was doing the Limgrave thing, I noticed that the graves actually all use a, like, gold, a similar gold thing to them. Very curious. Yeah, nothing else here. And nothing here to the main gate. Okay. Now I know... I know there's the troll golden sword item that knows the swords used to have gold plating, but yeah, there's a golden film that's like basically layered over it. So it makes you kind of think. One, it kind of the golden film for these troll swords seems to be kind of being used as a narrative device to imply how the like Marika is like, oh yes, please, you're welcome in my kingdom and all that. You filthy stinking giant. What? You say something? No, not at all. But then obviously the idea is that it's obviously. The gratitude for their contribution in the giant war only goes skin deep, as it were, and they were eventually enslaved. Personally, I'm theorizing that the enslavement of the trolls really only stepped up seriously after Godfrey left, because Godfrey, being the honorable warrior type, might be like, hey, you know, you kind of like have them do labor and stuff, but like don't be too mean. I feel like the added cruelty we see with them, like as carriage people and stuff like that, probably started under Ratigan when like non-humans were really getting cracked down on. That's my suspicion, but we will see how that pans out when I get around to that part. Yeah, okay, this guy here. So our buddy here is also... Let's put a marker here. And then there's the smaller ones indoors. And then obviously the big shrine with the Erdtree. Again, I've already noted how there's a prisoner corpse here, though I don't remember the item he had. I can't remember if it was anything significant. Elden Lord Ratigan sucks. He replaced sports for racism. He's like, oh, barbaric. Just hitting each other and blooding one up with gladiators. We are a civilized people now. We don't do that sort of shit. Proceeds to enslave races different than him. Ah, much better. Now this is how things are right and proper in order. America is perfectly inclusive. She's perfectly inclusive so long as you look human. Wait, no statue across from that statue. Yeah, that's the weird part. It's only that one statue over there in the corner. Very odd setup. It's asymmetrical! But yeah, I can't think of anything else here. Most of the other churches and stuff here don't do this. It's just normal Erdtree imagery and crap. There's not one here in the Fortified Manor. Which, I'll be honest, I'm thinking this place might have been a vacation home after the palace, quote-unquote, proper was built. Because I'm not sure if it literally took all the way onto Ratigan for, I don't know if Marika and Godfrey were still living here full-time when Ratigan came to be, and they start add his portraits here. Plus, the fact they're using portraits of him with, like, his typical fundamentalism get-up and his crown and all that, lead me to believe this is supposed to be, like a vacation home that the royal couple would use every now and then when they want to break from the courtly politics, right? And they'll be like, okay, we're going to move to our little vacation home down in the city. Which would also explain why we always have the pairs of Ratigan's portrait of him like doing the fundamentalism gesture in direction of the Erdtree portrait. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I can't think of anything else other than Liurnia, so let's go check out Liurnia real quick. let's do it from here. I wonder if the fortified manor area is a time capsule by accident thanks to Grandsax's corpse. He seems too big to risk moving even in chunks. I think it was I suppose it could be to some extent. The thing is that the war seems to have occurred for quite a while ago, and they've left the corpse basically the entirety of Radagon's prosperous reign, which is interesting to think about, it seems. There's the lower capital church. This here, that there. Grandsax's corpse is basically all of this, if I recall, and stretches all the way with his spear to here. It definitely seems like it was formally made this way, to be separate from the rest of the city, which obviously would make sense if it's a vacation home for the royal couple. It's like, okay, add some wall fencing. Don't want any commoners here. But then Grandsax's corpse definitely probably made things even harder for normal people to want to come in for sure. Because, like, well, kind of have a big cleanup problem. What about the graveyard in the Nox Quarter of Lanedale? Oh, you know what? Let's get that marked as a graveyard just so I have future reference of that. So let's do that from here. The lower capital church, and we'll go through here. With the ashes and stuff with the skeletons. City is so pretty. That is very true, Adolphus. I know Radagon reigned over an era of peace and enlightenment, but he honestly seems like a pushover compared to Godfrey. You hear Elden Lord Godfrey, but only King Consort Radagon. Well, yeah. I mean, we have to kind of think about it. Marika's technically marrying herself and screwing herself. Alright, so this is just normal church with stuff. Tree stuff. So nothing to really say here. Although, who decided to turn it into a brothel? This is a holy place of God tree. Yeah, so these are Celia buildings, but with the typical Golden Order windows being put with all the strange golden wax. I don't know why they're sealing everyone indoors. Like, what did they do to you, Morgott? God, I know I can climb out of here. I just don't tell me we have to go through the sewers. That would really suck. Fine. At least there's an exit right here that we can use, so that's the good news. I'd have liked to be able to explore the wider thing, but it's fine, whatever. So we have this area where the Ulcerated Tree Spirit was. Very unhappy. Erd Tree. Makes you wonder if there was like a minor Erd Tree or something here that got completely demolished. Oh, wow. Oh, darn it. Darn, messed that up. I played that terribly. I just gotta kill him before he gets up. Vita turned into a brothel, sleeping with her adopted dad or being pawned off on one of his friends. They looked at their king the wrong way. They got waxed. Don't mess with Morgott, I guess. I can play those games too, Mr. Omen Slayer. There we go. Whew. basically Fia and or Lionel's fault. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting going through the full, looking at Fia's backstory and trying to get a full history on her. To be again, my current working hypothesis is all this ash is a result of someone trying to burn the Erd Tree, like Vike or something, and that this resulted in Morgott being like, okay, all you tarnished, smoldering with the flame of ambition, blah blah blah, right? And it's like all of this is because he caused ash to start falling everywhere, trying to burn the Erd Tree, and Morgott wants none of it. So therefore, he's now sworn off all Tarnish. He doesn't trust them anymore. He doesn't welcome them in his city. Hence why we seem to have ideas that Tarnish were actually living in the streets here, like Dung Eater, Fia, Lionel, etc. And now they don't. They just all squat in Round Table hold. Okay, let's go check out the burial place here. Again, notice how there are the flower tops here, telling us how, yes, these people here are aligned with the... They are, in fact, aligned with the Erd Tree. The question is now, are these people considered lower class citizens in any way because of their lower stature? Or is it just a way so that way they can be closer in the shadows of the dark because that's what they're used to because they used to live underground? I could see it going either way. The other one needs to be killed again, though, unfortunately. What? Who possibly wants me to... Come on. Come on! No. Alright, that's it. Come on. Who else wants to fight me? Come on! They're all dead. Like, what is this shit? Is it you? I don't understand why the game considers me in combat still. Whatever, we're doing this. Do these skeletons have golden bones, by the way? It looks like normal bones to me, Night Scout. Similar to what we see in Celia and other places. Savike is unpopular for Frenzy, but Bernal might have ruined the normal mission. Ooh, I have to look into Bernal, too. I have not paid attention to him whatsoever. I just know him as guy with cool, fancy armor. Alright, so we have, anything special or different about these graves? Nope, these are the standard Cathedral of the Deep graves. These are the standard Cathedral of the Deep graves. Yep. Nothing unusual about them here in particular. Anything back here? Nope, just building. The only thing really unusual here is how much the flower is being used. Like, holy hell, you got these two normal graves and the rest of them are all flower topped. Like, holy hell, talk about trying to really show you're assimilating into the culture. Like, woo! The graves of the skeletons might be a bit different. The foot soldier ambush in the room at the end of this street doesn't seem to aggro the skeletons and vice versa. Good to know. This is the sewer. Yeah, so we have this, which is like the actual working part of the Nox Quarter, and then there's the other side. I don't care about you. This got destroyed. I don't know if this is by Gransack specifically, but as we can see, it's all in ruins. It has never been rebuilt. Let's go here. And there's this part which has some of the Rykard minions running around. Crawling around, I should say. The buildings here look really like small mortuary locales, which could explain the undead down here. Mortuary locales? How so? These look like the standard Celia houses to me. By the way, is Destined Death ever referred to as a flame? Because it only does holy damage, and I can't remember it being referred to as such. I don't think so. I don't recall it being called a flame at any point, Xavier. I think the Black Flame stuff, which is connected to Destined Death, but that's the closest I can think of. I don't think Destined Death itself is ever referred to as a flame. Maybe in, like, cut dialogue? Because doesn't Enya say something about Destined Death or whatever? There may be something about a flame there. Yes, these are the same houses. Except in ruins. Again, I can easily imagine this being a Grand Sax problem. To be honest, I don't know how Grand Sax didn't level this entire area before they could do anything about it. Like, he must have been really slow. Like, he must have been, like, the slowest-ass dragon outside of flying. Because I feel like this place you could have easily destroyed everything. But then again, I feel like the same with the Giants. Like, how the hell did the Giants lose the war? Like, it really shouldn't have been that hard. But, listen, whatever the lore says. Yeah, so this is all here partially destroyed. Enya's cut dialogue was about black flames running the Erd Tree, if I recall correctly. Yeah, this is the only instance I can think of where it's maybe refers to Destined Death itself as like a flame that's burning the Erd Tree. But if it's just black flames, then no. That's technically, you know, derived, but it's not saying, well, this is Destined Death itself. Maybe Grand Sax did level the area and Leyndell was extensively rebuilt to be shinier and not as Spartan as Godfrey's era. Does that work? I don't think so. I don't think so, because there's too many yeah, like this here. This could not have been rebuilt, and it uses the modern architecture, not the old Godfrey architecture. And again, I'm not even saying that this is Godfrey architecture. This is Banished Knight architecture, right? This is the point I'm making in the dock. All these Romanesque castles, so like Shaded Castle, the Windham, we obviously don't get a look at that, but all that type of style is all when something is being built by Banished Knights under the influence of their culture, right? So the Banished Knights get banished to Stormvale. They build the Romanesque-style castle. When Godfrey conquers it, he's the one who adds the unusual rotunda that's more for a classical style of building, not Norman or Romanesque castles. And then obviously the Gothic spires and stuff. Some people have suggested they might be added by Godric. I could believe that they would be added by Godfrey when he comes in, but either way. Yes, I'm not so sure about that. This definitely feels like this city already existed by the time all of this is done, and we know that at the very least these walls existed, because this is supposed to be the only time these walls ever were breached, was when Grand Sax attacked. So I definitely feel like everything we know of as the modern city is already there, or close to it, which is another reason why I think that we can say that the Fortified Manor was probably a vacation home for America / Radigan / Godfrey, after the quote-unquote like pauper palace where America has her own bedroom up above is. Are you done? Yeah, this definitely feels like, okay, he crashed in here and he destroyed all of this. This does not feel like, oh, we're going to rebuild the city in a different style. Because already we see this style exists. Well, once you get to Farm Azula, it feels there are a few similarities to Fancy Leyndell, even if it has unique traits, so maybe there was a post-war sprucing up. I don't know, I feel like, at least from what I've seen of Farm Azula architecture, it feels very distinct from here. So I don't know about that. Deathblight also takes the form of flames as the effect of the Soul Shotel Ash of War, but adds holy damage, which I guess tracks since Deathblight just screwed up Destined Death. Yeah, that definitely tracks. I think it also lets out golden sparks like Destined Death on Malekith's sword. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not seeing the statue with the wild growing tree. See, I see the regular statues here, but not the big wild growing one. There's Marika's statue that she built here. I'm not seeing anything else. Wait, does Marika's bedchamber have a hole that shouldn't exist? Where's the Crucible statue with the golden flower? That's at the Round Table Hold / Fortified Manor. That's where that statue is used, right? The statue of the bald man with the singular flower. The tree hasn't grown wild yet. Also, we were talking earlier about the possibility of whether or not Marika lived through an age where they had no books. Now that I've done analysis of the Fortified Manor and determined that it likely it was something that already existed with the Banished Knights and stuff, and was accessed later on by the Radagon and Marika, Godfrey and Marika. I'm pretty sure the library there can tell us that, yeah, they already had proper writing on paper and stuff. So this might be, I think it was Night Scout, or maybe it was Xavier or Platy, but one of you guys had mentioned the idea of maybe Marika's looking at old knowledge with these tablets, and this, I think, I'm more open to this possibility now that I've gone through that, because, like, okay, yeah, they definitely knew and had access to the technology of paper writing that they could have very easily used themselves. So either this is a very archaic form of record keeping that Marika prefers, which, hey, she's Newman, it's possible, or she might be, this might be stuff that she's looking at for older things. I could go either way. It could just be this is her personal preference. She just likes stone tablets. I mean, she likes her stone beds. But this has a hole in the ceiling, huh? Yeah. I mean, the shadow isn't very accurate, because the chain should definitely be causing shadows through it, but whatever. Wait. Yeah, I don't think it's the chain. I think it's still the thing, but let's look back here. Yeah, this should not have a hole in it. There should not be the sun shining straight through. It has a top, very clear top, that would obstruct a lot of that light. Again, From Software just doesn't want you to look up, down, left, right, or behind. Just directly ahead. Oh yeah, that one guy said those might be ancient tablets. I haven't seen around since. So it was someone else, 'cause again, I can't remember who exactly said it. But I do recall the statement. Yeah, about the cup up there in the skylight. Oh yeah, are there any flower statues in the Colosseum now that it can be opened up? Oh, yeah, I gotta check that. I don't recall what are statues there. Where's the cup? Yeah, Xavier mentioned the cup. Is someone mentioned a cup in here? Do we have a cup? I'm trying to see it on the floor. Let's reset the area first. Yeah, I don't see any cup anywhere. There's a brazier here. There's scrolls. Oh, cool. We can actually see the scrolls open. Looks to use similar script to what we see on these tablets. It's hanging by a chain in the skylight. Oh, so that's where the cup is, you're saying. It's up there. Is that a cup, though? Is it? I don't know, with all the chains inside of it? I don't know, I think that's just a normal ornament. I don't think that's a cup. Like, who's... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Was it TA who was saying it was a cup or something? I don't know, Chad. I'm a little skeptical looking at this. That looks like I feel like if someone free canned up there, it would not be a cup. It would just be a normal, like, ornamentation to, like, connect all the chains and stuff. Because then you'd have a question of how the hell are they getting this down to if after the drops come in for whatever reason. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, that's. I don't think it's an actual cup. I don't know if there's anyone who's trying to pass that off as like some holy chalice to gather the drops of the Erd Tree or whatever. I'm gonna just press X to doubt there. I'm skeptical. Alright, so we got that done. Yeah, we went down there. Now, this is what I'm calling unofficially the Pagan Quarter. I don't know, I haven't compared these buildings to other buildings to see what they resemble exactly, but the graveyard there doesn't have the flower tops, it's the flat top instead, which tells me, oh, this is where pagans were buried. So does this possibly even predate Lindell? Which might help explain why the misbegotten are praying to them. So we got Elden Ring with, like, roots. Then you have, of course, the Elden Ring is the source of the Erd Tree. And what has everyone wondering things is because they see something resembling another tree sprouting up the top higher still. Which, again, could just be abstract imagery. It might not necessarily be this idea of, oh, this is the Great Tree, and then the Elder... Because then that'd be weird. What's with the propaganda, then? There's a Great Tree before the Erd Tree, but the Erd Tree is the only thing relevant to the era, so they have Elden Ring, and then they're showing the Great Tree for lineage purposes? Why not just show the Erd Tree, because that's so important to the cult? Like, it definitely has some mixed messaging, it feels. I suppose you could also make a case maybe that these doors, because their color, might be part of the same Romanesque style. I don't know, because the Romanesque style didn't have all this fancy additions here, or any of that internal, so I don't know if I'm willing to buy that either. Yeah, plus, the thing is that if you're believing, oh yeah, this is the new tree that's sprouting, then what about all the roots at the top that are sprouting on top of that tree? Like, that's, I don't know. This evidence, if people are using this as evidence for the Great Tree, I'm feeling shakier on it the more I look at it. Once again, there should be no skylight light coming in here. Like, what the hell? I can't tell if that's a specific figure up there or if it's just generic crap. There we go. We have all that there. Alright, so that's all covered. The mural might actually go from top down, root, small tree, big tree, glorious Elden Ring. That would be a little weird, though, right? Because the idea is that the Elden Ring is the source of the Erd Tree. Like, that's stated explicitly. So, like, I guess if you wanted to go, like, roots, small tree becomes big tree, and at root of big tree becomes Elden... But then there's roots growing out from the Elden Ring underneath either. I don't know, guys. I'm feeling like this might just be a really abstract image just trying to illustrate the idea that from the Elden Ring came the Erd Tree. And, like, all the other stuff is just, like, add-ons where the artist is just like, well, I gotta somehow fill up this rest of the door, so I'll just put random imagery crap of roots and trees and shit. Like, I don't know. It could also be, if we want to really stretch it, that this is supposed to represent the minor Erd Trees. And how they connect to the larger root network, which, catacombs are being built and stuff like that. That might be the idea instead. Whatever the case, this is not the focus of today's stream. In fact, we should probably be wrapping up today's stream because I'm running out of things that I want to check. Let's see. Bloodborne Chalice. Oops. Oops, redundant. Also, speaking of Erd Tree drops, I'm curious if it's truly dew or sap leaking out. Sap falling from a branch could indicate damage to the tree. The drops, it's referred to as amber for the crimson amber talismans and stuff like that. Old drops of the Erd Tree and stuff like that. I don't know if it's necessarily coming from the branches. Also, we're talking about like a magic tree, so might not necessarily indicate sickness, but gonna keep that in mind. Unless it truly was dew or like a crystallized fruit. I'll be honest, I think the way to think of the drops of the Erd Tree is best to think of as a dew, as a fruit. Because I've talked about this before, the idea that the term for plenty, abundance, cornucopia, that term for the age of plenty literally means the age of bountiful crop. So the idea is that the Erd Tree would be, in this case, the bountiful crop giving you the abundance. Because it is producing the drops that people ingest. So that is the crop, the fruit, as you were. That's how I would think about it in terms of at least the symbolism that Miyazaki's trying to convey with these terms. That was my impression. Small tree equals small trees. Yeah, that's something I'm definitely gonna have to think about too. Like, because this could have been designed or redesigned or added on to post Glowmite Queen event, post Omen, Age of Plenty ends and all that. Like, that is a possibility. The propaganda tentacles of the Erd Tree going everywhere. Exactly. It's in the end, it's all about the propaganda seeping its way into every single person. We have the sealed tunnel. We have the minor Erd Tree church. Yeah, that's off the beaten path. Eastern tableland. If I recall correctly, this tableland is just another word for plateau that is being used. Like Highland, I think it was. Oh yeah, Frenzy Flame Village. I want to check this place out real quick. Because I wanted to confirm if there are, in fact, more fortification stuff like is shown on the map. Because I can't remember if they were or not. Alright. I don't care. I'm not here for your graves. Don't worry, madman. I'm not here to find where you bury your dead. I am only here to check out your walls. Give them a good inspection. Hello, soldiers. I see that you're resting on the job. Very bad. Tally ho, men. March onward to defend your village. So I should be looking for a wall around here. Does this exist? I'm not seeing it. We do find a graveyard, which might connect to the village, but again, this is not what I'm recording for the moment. Okay, so the map is showing a wall fortification, which doesn't exist here. That's what I wanted to know. So there's only this one. It still works, though, with the idea that they might be creating a village and protecting it, because obviously there is the church up here. So there is the idea that they might still be having, this may be a result of the Lyrian Wars. Here's the place where Vike might have killed his own maiden. The bottom of the mural might have been a door, or Marika broke it to access the inner area. Yeah, that's true. It is broken, which is curious in itself. Yes, we have the dead maiden here. Let me open up my notes and check real quickly if what inhibition is. Because, like, I want to say sealing, but let me double check what I have here. Go to the locations. I also need to get a list of graces added at some point. We're looking at Liurnia. Church of Union. So that's for the Church of Vows or whatever. Caria Study Hall. The Balaam Church. Church of Calming. That's what yeah, calming, appeasing, suppressing. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah. So this does seem to imply this was maybe the church where Vike might have calmed his eyes filled with frenzy and all that. Though again, I'm not sure how that connects to his spirit invading us per se. But yeah, this might be the place where the flames were subdued. They were appeased. Is the bottom of the mural ripped out on purpose? Possibly. That's the point that Night Scout's looking to John. The lower part of the mural leading up the stairs seems to have a spiraling design in the pillars too. ALA, the Erdtree banners along the main city road, Godric's cloaks, etc. Let's look at those real quick. So this stuff from the Capitol has a different metal thing going for it. There's our Stormveil banner. I don't know if it's a spiral design for these, at least. Are these the ones you're referring to, or something else, Night Scout? There's definitely pillars to them, but I don't know if it's necessarily a spiral pattern. Maybe the calming didn't work since his maiden is dead and the village is ruined by frenzied flame. That's true. It could be that it was a failed work. It could also just be that the village was already infected by his frenzy, and all he did was fix his. Again, I'm not. I haven't followed Vike's lore very closely, so I do not know where to place him. Right, like my focus right now is Godfrey's era. I have a little bit of information, like when it comes to Morgott and stuff, so I'm a little knowledgeable on that front because I have some translation stuff I've talked about with Smotown and stuff to help with his vids, but like I'm really not familiar with the era of the Shattering and afterwards. Like that is probably where I'm weakest on the lore. I probably know more about like the ancient history stuff before Erdtree or any of that shit than anything else. Yeah, so it's not these here. Yeah, I don't see a spiral thing that you were mentioning, but I could definitely see possibly that these are copy pasting the same designs, right? The pillar, at least if you take out the details to these pillars, there's definitely like a similar feel to them. And I think there's something similar about these little, I don't know what you call this. Again, I'm not an architecture buff. Very neat. Even the pillars have spirits in the game. Yeah, this is exactly why I'm thinking that spirits might be similar to, again, what we talked about when I was talking about my Bloodborne stream yesterday. The idea of the cosmos being like an Akashic record that records every bit of, like, everything in, like, data. Quote-unquote, like, spiritual, magical data. Like, sort of cosmological essence of that. And, like, therefore, there's always an imprint with which, like, Melina can sense the words of Marika at a location, or you can see banners that were once flown there at some point, or you could see animals, or even forest trees and things of that nature. Possibly even old lost land masses. You never know. Oh, the symbol's in front of the room I thought for some reason I thought it was behind the thorns with the way it looks, but no. If you actually look at an angle, no, it's definitely in front of the thorns. Cool. Ah, I see they moved Morgott's corpse. Yeah, it's hard to say. There has to be some way to enter, because it's clearly a formal entrance, right? It's not like it's some fancy wall. This wasn't like a big fancy wall. You were meant to be able to access here from behind the Elden Throne. Okay, fine, whatever you say. It's the part flanking the stairway in between the pillars. Ah, I see. You're talking about this spiral type thing. Okay, in between the pillars. Yeah, it's only for the wall part, though. And let me read your thing. A spiraling design, the pillar 2, ALA, the Erdtree banners along the main city road, Godric's cloak, etc. Let's get a screenshot of this so we can try to note this in the future in case we see stuff like this. Because I think I get what you're saying. I want to reference Godric's cloak and stuff to kind of see if we see a really similar design to that. And see if it's actually used that often and in that manner. Yeah, that's Spiral. Okay, God, thank you for clarifying, Night Scout. Okay. Okay. So there's that... God, the low poly. And you're telling me with an Arrow Talisman I can look at this muddy model even closer? Wow, guys! Elden Ring gives you everything! Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, we have that. Okay, we've looked at all the stuff I really, really care about. We have gone on a really long, long stream. So I'm going to end things here now, guys. Again, thank you so much. Really helpful having all this little added stuff. I'm glad I was able to take some time out and just do some casual exploring. Next time we'll probably get back to the proper Let's Play, though, unless I really need to check something else out. So, bye-bye.